The massive research vessel Stellar Seeker drifted at the edge of known space, its crystalline hull glittering against the backdrop of unfamiliar stars. Inside, senior researcher Reed of the Galactic Council wrapped all four arms around himself, his blue scales darkening with worry as he studied the readings before him. "Impossible," he whispered, his inner eyelids blinking rapidly. "These readings cannot be correct." But the numbers didn't lie. Something was consuming entire star systems at the edge of the galaxy, not through any known natural process, but through what appeared to be a controlled demolition of spacetime itself. The ship's captain, a tall, willowy being named First Observer White, floated into the research bay. Like all members of the aerial species, she moved with graceful weightlessness even in artificial gravity. "Senior researcher," she said, her voice like wind chimes. "The Council demands answers. 3 colony worlds have gone dark in the past standard week." Reed's scales rippled with distress. "Captain, what we're seeing, it defies our understanding of physics. The anomaly appears to be growing. It's as if someone or something is eating holes in the fabric of space itself." White drifted closer to the holographic display, her luminescent eyes widening. "Can we send probes?" "We've sent 12. Reed pulled up another display. None returned. The last one managed to transmit for 3 seconds before. He played the footage. The probe's view showed a wall of what looked like boiling darkness, shot through with veins of purple energy. As it approached, space itself seemed to twist and fold. Then the transmission cut to static. "Send the research vessel Dawn Seeker *" White commanded. Reed's scales turned pale. We already did. Yesterday." He brought up another screen, showing the last transmission from the research vessel. The Dawn Seeker * approached the anomaly's edge, its shields at maximum. For a moment, everything seemed fine. Then the ship's hull began to warp, twisting like paper in an invisible wind. The crew's panicked screams cut off as the vessel folded in on itself and vanished. White's natural glow dimmed considerably. By the first light, a quiet voice spoke from the corner of the research bay. "We should call a human." All eyes turned to junior researcher Green, the youngest member of the science team. His antenna drooped under the sudden attention. "A human?" White's voice carried equal parts shock and disgust. "You want to bring a Deathworlder into this?" Green stood straighter. "Think about it. Humans evolved on a planet that should have killed them 1,000 times over. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, constant radiation from their sun, poisonous substances everywhere. They don't just survive disasters. They thrive on them." "They're barbarians," Reed protested. "Their idea of diplomatic relations is arm wrestling competitions." "Yes," Green agreed, "but they're barbarians who've survived things that would kill any normal species. Remember the Cortex incident? When that research station was about to explode, who volunteered to walk through lethal radiation to shut down the core?" "A human," White admitted reluctantly. "They lost 3 layers of skin but survived." "And the void whale migration crisis?" "Also humans," Reed grumbled. "They actually rode the creatures to guide them away from populated space." Green activated another display, showing statistics about Earth. Their planet should be uninhabitable by galactic standards. Yet they built civilizations there. They create sports around jumping off cliffs. They eat substances that cause chemical burns just for fun. And most importantly, he paused for effect, they specialize in solving problems that everyone else calls impossible. A heavy silence fell over the research bay. Finally, Captain White spoke, her voice heavy with resignation. "The Council will never approve." As if on cue, another alert flashed across their screens. A 4th colony had gone dark. White's glow pulsed with decision. "But we're running out of options. Senior researcher Reed, prepare a report for the Council. Junior researcher Green, find us a human specialist, someone with experience in impossible situations." "I have a suggestion," Green said, pulling up a personnel file. Captain James Walker. He's survived 3 ship destructions, 2 space station collapses, and something his record calls a particularly aggressive space-time hiccup. He specializes in situations where the laws of physics stop making sense. Contact him. White ordered. The Council can debate the ethics of involving Deathworlders after we save our people. As the crew rushed to their tasks, the anomaly continued its inexorable expansion, another reminder that time was running out for normal solutions. Sometimes, you needed someone crazy enough to punch physics in the face. Sometimes, you needed a human. Captain James Walker stood at the viewport of his ship, the Iron Will *, watching the massive Galactic Council station grow larger against the starfield. He took a sip from his coffee mug, ignoring the horrified looks from the alien dockworkers who had never understood how humans could willingly drink hot, bitter liquids. "They're ready for us, Captain," his first officer, Tom Miller, reported. "Though the station's medical team wants to know if we need special containment suits due to our—" what did they call it? "Naturally radioactive biology." Walker chuckled. "Tell them we'll stick to standard uniforms. No need to make them more nervous than they already are." The Iron Will * wasn't the prettiest ship in space. Built like a brick with engines, its heavy armor and reinforced hull made most civilian vessels look delicate in comparison. But it had survived things that would have torn prettier ships apart, just like its crew. As they docked, Walker studied the message that had brought them here: an unknown anomaly eating stars, failed research missions, and a council desperate enough to ask for human help. Interesting. The welcome party waiting in the docking bay was a sight to behold. A dozen different alien species stood well back from the airlock, many holding breathing masks. At their head stood Captain White, floating slightly above the deck, and senior researcher Reed, his scales a nervous shade of green. "Captain Walker," White greeted, maintaining what she considered a safe distance. "Thank you for responding so quickly." Walker stepped forward, pretending not to notice when several council members flinched. At just over 6 feet tall, he wasn't particularly large by human standards, but to many alien species, he was a giant from a death world. "Happy to help," he said, keeping his voice gentle. Experience had taught him that his natural voice could sound threatening to alien ears. "I brought my best team. This is First Officer Miller, Engineer Roberts, and Science Officer Parker." Reed's scales rippled. "Your crew. They're all human. Best people for the job," Walker said simply. "We specialize in situations where normal solutions don't work." "Yes," White chimed in. "Your record is impressive. Though some of your methods are insane," Miller offered helpfully. "We get that a lot." Walker pulled out a datapad. "Let's talk about this anomaly. Your report mentioned it's consuming star systems. Show me what you've got." The briefing room was designed for comfort by council standards, which meant the humans had to sit on reinforced chairs brought specifically for them. The gravity was set to 1/3 of Earth normal, making the humans feel bouncy. As Reed displayed the data, Walker's team leaned forward with interest rather than horror. Parker, the science officer, actually grinned at some of the readings. "Oh, this is good," she said, making notes. "Look at these energy patterns, Captain. Reminds me of that thing we found in the Horsehead Nebula. The one that tried to turn us inside out," Roberts asked. Good times. Several council members exchanged worried glances. Walker studied the footage of the Dawn Seeker's destruction. "What's your containment plan?" "Containment?" Reed's scales paled. "It cannot be contained. We must study it from a safe distance and warn ships away until we understand. While more colonies disappear." Walker shook his head. "No, we need to get close, figure out what it is, and stop it." "Impossible." Reed's scales turned almost white. "The forces involved would tear any ship apart." Walker smiled. It was the kind of smile that reminded everyone that humans had evolved as pursuit predators. "Good thing we brought a ship that's hard to tear apart then." The asterisk iron will asterisk has reinforced everything. Plus, some modifications we made after that incident with the space-time hiccup. You mean to go there yourself? White's glow flickered with shock. The Council cannot authorize such a risk. With respect, Walker said, standing up, you called us because nothing else has worked. My crew and I have survived things that your scientists said were impossible. That's why we're here. He gestured to the display showing another colony going dark. Every minute we wait, more people die. We can launch in 2 hours. The Council can either help us or watch us do it anyway. The room fell silent except for the soft hum of the station's engines. Finally, Junior Researcher Green spoke up from his corner. This is exactly why we called them. Walker nodded to his crew. Get the asterisk iron, will asterisk ready. We're going to need the heavy shields for this one. As the humans left to prepare their ship, White turned to Reed. Are we doing the right thing? Reed watched the humans leave, his scales showing a mix of fear and hope. No, we're doing the only thing left to do. The asterisk iron will asterisk approached the edge of the anomaly, its heavy engines rumbling at low power. Through the reinforced viewport, the crew watched the strange phenomenon twist and writhe like a living thing. Purple energy crackled across its surface, and the void around it seemed to bend. Well, that's definitely not natural, Parker said from her science station. She adjusted her sensors, ignoring the warning alerts flashing across her screen. Captain, I'm getting some weird readings. The space around us is folding. Behind them, in the observer's seat, Reed wrapped all 4 arms around himself. The Council had insisted on sending a representative, though now he looked like he regretted volunteering. We should maintain a safe distance, Reed suggested, his scales turning pale as Walker guided the ship closer. The other research vessels weren't built like this one, Walker interrupted. He patted the ship's console. The asterisk iron will asterisk has survived a black hole's edge. She can handle this. Roberts spoke up from engineering. Shields are holding at 80%. Whatever that energy is, it's trying to push through, but our reinforced fields are keeping it back. Look there. Miller pointed at a spot where the purple energy seemed to concentrate. That pattern. It's not random. Parker's fingers flew over her console. He's right, Captain. These energy pulses, they're repeating, almost like a signal. Walker finished. Someone built this thing. Reed's scales flickered with surprise. Impossible. The energy levels would have destroyed any construction team. No known species could survive working in these conditions. No currently known species, Parker corrected. She adjusted her scanners again. But what if this is old? Really old? Walker leaned forward in his chair. Can we respond to the signal? Are you insane? Reed's voice rose to a squeak. That energy nearly folded a research vessel in half. Good thing we're not a research vessel, Miller said with a grin. We're a ship full of crazy humans. Walker nodded to Parker. Send a response. Match their pattern. The science officer began transmitting. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the purple energy surged toward them like a wave. Shields at 60%. Roberts called out. Whatever that is, it's trying to interface with our systems. Reed curled into a ball in his seat. We're going to die. But Walker leaned forward, watching intently as patterns began forming in the energy field. No, we're going to make contact. Look. The purple energy had stopped attacking their shields. Instead, it was forming shapes in space, geometric patterns that shifted and changed. It's a test, Parker said suddenly. These patterns, they're like a puzzle. Walker smiled. And if we solve it, either we unlock whatever this thing is, or it kills us. Miller finished cheerfully. Standard Tuesday for us, really. Reed stared at them in horror. How can you joke at a time like this? Because fear doesn't help solve problems, Walker explained, studying the patterns. Parker, can you map these sequences? Already on it. Each pattern seems to lead to the next, but there's something off about the progression. The gravity. Roberts called from engineering. Each pattern corresponds to a different gravitational constant. It's not just shapes, it's physics. Walker's eyes lit up. It's a key. This thing was built by a civilization that could manipulate gravity itself. But why? Reed asked, gradually uncurling as his scientific curiosity overcame his fear. To keep something out, Parker said quietly. Look at how the energy flows. It's not random destruction. It's a barrier, like a wall. Or a door, Walker added. He turned to his crew. Opinions? Miller shrugged. If it's a door, someone built it for a reason. And those colonies might be on the other side, Roberts added. Reed's scales shifted to a deeper blue. The Council will never approve of. We're not asking, Walker said firmly. Parker, solve that puzzle. Roberts, get ready to reinforce shields. Miller, plot us a course through whatever opening we find. He smiled at Reed. And you might want to hold on to something. As the crew worked, the purple energy continued its dance around the ship. On the sensors, more patterns emerged, each one a piece of an ancient message left by a civilization that had mastered the forces that could tear worlds apart. The asterisk iron will asterisk hung in space, a tiny ship faced with an impossible barrier, crewed by beings from a world that should have killed them. But that was exactly why they were here. Sometimes, the impossible needed the impossible to solve it. As Parker worked on decoding the final pattern sequence, 3 large council ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel around the asterisk iron will asterisk. Their sleek, crystalline hulls gleamed with advanced technology far beyond human engineering. Captain, Miller called from his station. We're being hailed. Walker frowned. Put them through. A holographic image appeared, showing High Commander Blue, his tentacles writhing with barely contained anger. Captain Walker, you will cease all interactions with the artifact immediately. Artifact. Walker's eyes narrowed. You knew what this was. Reed stood up, his scales darkening with shock. High Commander, what is the meaning of this? Senior Researcher Reed. Blue's tentacles curled dismissively. Your part in this investigation is over. The Council's Special Operations Division is taking control. Special Operations. Reed's scales turned almost black. That division was disbanded cycles ago. Officially, yes. Blue's image flickered as his ships moved closer. Unofficially, we've been monitoring this weapon since its discovery. Weapon? Walker kept his voice calm, but his hands tightened on his chair. Those lost colonies weren't an accident, were they? Acceptable losses in pursuit of understanding the artifact's capabilities, Blue stated coldly. We've spent years trying to activate it. Then you humans, with your crude methods, managed to make more progress in hours than we did in cycles. Parker spoke without looking up from her work. Captain, they're powering up their weapons. Of course they are, Miller muttered. Because this day wasn't interesting enough. Walker stood slowly. Commander Blue, those colonies had millions of people. Who will be remembered as martyrs for the greater good, Blue replied. Now power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Your crews, unique biological characteristics may be useful in our research. Reed's scales paled. This is against everything the Council stands for. The Council is weak. Blue's tentacles whipped angrily. While they debate, other species grow stronger. With this weapon, we can ensure our dominance for millennia. Walker shared a quick look with his crew. They nodded back. Years of working together meant they didn't need words. That's not going to happen, Walker said calmly. Roberts, how are our shields? Ready for something stupid, Captain. Parker, that puzzle. Almost there. 2 minutes. Miller, engines hot. These fancy ships may be bigger, but I bet they've never played chicken with a black hole. Blue's image rippled with amusement. You're surrounded, outgunned, and outnumbered. What do you possibly think you can do? Walker smiled. It wasn't a pleasant smile. What humans do best, Survive. Read, you might want to hold on again. The asterisk iron will asterisk suddenly cut all external lights, appearing to power down. Blue's ships moved closer. A wise choice. Blue started. The human ship's engines roared to life, pushing out radiation levels that made the Council ship's sensors scream. The asterisk iron will asterisk shot forward, straight toward the largest vessel. They're insane. Blue's tentacles writhed. Fire. Stop them. Energy beams lanced out, but the asterisk iron will asterisk was already moving in a pattern no sane pilot would attempt. Miller had the ship spinning on its axis, using the momentum to slide between two of the Council vessels. Shields at 40%. Roberts called out, but they're having trouble locking on. That's because they think we're flying like people who want to live, Miller said through gritted teeth. Parker's console lit up. Captain. Pattern decoded. Send it to the anomaly, Walker ordered. Read, last chance to get off this ride. The alien researcher's scales showed fear, but he gripped his seat tighter. I serve the real Council, not these traitors. The asterisk iron will asterisk reached the edge of the anomaly, just as Parker transmitted the solution. The purple energy surged, forming a massive spiral in space. It's a gate, Parker shouted. We were right. Blue's voice crackled over the comm. Stop them. Don't let them. The asterisk iron will asterisk plunged into the spiral. Behind them, the Council ships opened fire, but the energy of the gate was already wrapping around the human vessel. Space twisted. Reality bent. The asterisk iron will asterisk, and its crew felt themselves being pulled in directions that shouldn't exist. The last thing they heard was Blue's enraged scream as the gate closed behind them, leaving the Council ships behind. Then everything went white. The whiteness faded slowly, like fog clearing on a morning Earth day. The asterisk iron will asterisk drifted in what looked like a massive chamber made of the same purple energy they'd seen outside. Scattered around them were the missing colony ships, suspended in bubbles of twisted spacetime. Everyone alive? Walker asked, checking his own systems. Somehow, Miller groaned from the pilot's seat. Though I think my stomach is now where my liver should be. Parker was already working at her station, eyes wide with excitement. Captain, these readings, they're incredible. This place, it's like a pocket between dimensions. Reed uncurled from his safety position, scales shifting in amazement. The colonies, they weren't destroyed. They were stored. Roberts, ship status. Walker called. Running, but barely, the engineer reported. Whatever pulled us through scrambled half our systems. Give me 10 minutes to sort it out. Suddenly, the purple energy around them pulsed. Streams of light flowed toward the asterisk iron will asterisk, probing at their hull. It's scanning us, Parker announced. Then her console lit up with new data. Captain, it's responding to us. To our biology. Walker moved to look at her readings. Explain. The energy. It's not just technology. It's partially organic. And our radiation levels, our high-gravity adaptation, our dense cellular structure. It recognizes something in us. Reed floated closer, fascinated despite his fear. That's impossible. Unless, his scales rippled with revelation, unless it was built by another Deathworld species. The chamber hummed. Holographic images appeared around them, showing creatures that looked nothing like humans, but moved with similar purpose. They were working on massive machines, building what looked like the very chamber they were in. A message, Parker breathed. They left a message. The images showed another dimension, filled with creatures of pure energy trying to break through into normal space. The Deathworld builders had created this weapon not to destroy, but to protect. A last line of defense against an invasion from beings that could tear reality apart. They needed someone strong enough to survive here, Reed realized. Strong enough to maintain and use their weapon. That's why normal species couldn't interact with it. More purple energy swirled around the ship. This time, It didn't feel threatening. It felt like recognition. "Parker," Walker said quietly, "what's it asking us to do?" She worked quickly through the new data. "It's showing us how to release the colonies." But she paused, face grim. "Someone's damaged the containment systems. If we don't repair them first, releasing the colonies could tear this whole pocket dimension apart. And everything in it," Miller added, "including us." A new alarm blared. Robert's voice came over the contents. "Captain, we got company. Those council ships, they found another way in. They're trying to force their way through a different gateway. On their sensors, they could see 3 points where space was starting to crack. Blue's ships were pushing through, using some kind of stolen technology to breach the barriers. If they get in before we fix the containment system." Parker didn't need to finish. Walker looked at his crew. "Options. The builders left repair protocols," Parker said. "But someone would need to go out there, into the energy field itself. The radiation levels are, well, they'd be lethal to most species." "Good thing we're not most species," Walker replied. "Roberts, suit up. You're with me. Miller, keep those ships busy if they break through. Parker, guide us through the repairs. Reed," he looked at the alien researcher, "want to help save your council." Reed's scales showed fear, but also determination. "What do you need me to do?" "Monitor the gateway points. If Blue's ships start breaking through, we'll need warning." As they prepared for their mission, Walker looked out at the swirling energy field and the colony ships suspended within it. Somewhere out there, the fate of millions hung in the balance. And standing between them and disaster was a single ship of humans too stubborn to know when something was impossible. Just another day at work. The repair would be simple, Parker had said. Just walk out into a field of reality-bending energy that could tear apart space-time, find the damaged containment nodes, and fix them, while under attack. Simple, Walker muttered inside his reinforced spacesuit. Next to him, Roberts checked their tools one last time. They stood in the airlock, watching the purple energy swirl outside. Even through the ship's strongest shields, they could feel its power pulling at them. "Suits are holding," Roberts reported, "though these radiation readings are making the sensors cry." Parker's voice came through their comms. "The first containment node is 30 meters to your right. Remember, you need tow. Stay in contact with the energy field." Walker finished. "Let it recognize us as, what did you call it?" "Compatible organic matter," she replied. "The builders designed it to respond to species that evolved in extreme conditions. The more you let it scan you, the better it will work with you." Reed's voice cut in. "Captain, the council ships are halfway through. Maybe 10 minutes before they breach." "Then we better work fast." Walker nodded to Roberts. "Ready?" "Born ready, Cap. Though maybe don't tell my mother about this part." They opened the airlock. The purple energy rushed in immediately, wrapping around their suits like curious tentacles. Walker felt a tingling sensation as it scanned him, probing his cellular structure, measuring his radiation resistance, testing his high-gravity adaptations. They pushed off from the ship, using their suit thrusters to navigate through the strange space. Around them, the colonial ships hung frozen in their protective bubbles, millions of lives suspended between moments. "First node ahead," Roberts called out. "Oh, that's not good." The containment node was a crystal structure bigger than their ship, crackling with damaged energy. Parts of it had been deliberately sabotaged, probably by Blue's agents trying to understand its technology. "Parker, we're seeing major damage," Walker reported. "Talk us through this." As Parker explained the repair sequence, Miller's voice cut in. "Company, they're breaking through." Through the swirling energy, Walker could see 3 points of space tearing open. The council ships emerged, their crystalline hulls glowing with stolen power. "Activating defense protocols," Miller announced. "The *Iron will move to intercept. Its weapons charging." "Focus on the repairs," Walker ordered. already working on the node. We're the only ones who can fix this. The energy field around them pulsed with increasing intensity as the intruding ships disrupted its patterns. Roberts worked quickly, using tools modified with human technology to interface with the ancient systems. They're firing, Reed warned. The space around them lit up with energy beams. The Iron Will dodged and returned fire, looking tiny against the larger council ships, but moving with impossible agility. Walker and Roberts kept working. The purple energy responded to their presence, helping them understand its patterns. It was like the whole system wanted to work with them, recognizing in humans the same stubborn survival traits as its builders. Second node located, Roberts called. But these radiation levels are climbing. Suits won't hold forever. Walker felt it too. The burning sensation that meant their protection was failing. But they kept going. Humans had evolved running down prey under burning suns. They could handle this. They'd reached the second node just as their suit warnings reached critical levels. The council ships were fully through now, engaging the Iron Will in a deadly dance. Parker, Walker called, fighting through the pain of increasing radiation. Final sequence. Uploading now. But Captain, your radiation exposure. Just send it. The sequence appeared in their helmet displays. As they worked to implement it, Walker saw Roberts stumbling. The engineer's suit was showing dangerous damage. Go back to the ship, Walker ordered. Not without you, Cap. That's an order. Since when do humans follow orders that would get their friends killed? Despite everything, Walker smiled. Roberts was right. Humans didn't leave their people behind. They'd finish this together, or not at all. The node hummed under their hands as they made the final adjustments. The purple energy surged around them, responding to their work. It's stabilizing, Parker shouted excitedly. The containment field is. A massive explosion rocked the space around them. One of Blue's ships had scored a direct hit on the Iron Will. Hull breach. Miller's voice was strained. Primary systems failing. Walker looked at the ship, then at the partially repaired node. They were so close. But without the Iron Will's systems supporting Parker's calculations. Captain. Reed's voice came through, surprisingly calm. I think I know what we have to do. But you're not going to like it. The council ships moved in for the kill as Walker listened to Reed's plan. The researcher was right. He didn't like it. But then, humans specialized in doing things no one liked when everything was on the line. Reed's plan was insane. That's probably why it worked. You want us to what? Miller asked over the damaged comm system. The builders weren't just Deathworlders, Reed explained, his scales glowing with excitement. They were engineers. This whole system, it's not just a weapon. It's a massive organic computer. It needs compatible biological matter to fully activate. Walker and Roberts hung in space, their suits barely holding together. Compatible how? Walker asked, though he was starting to understand. Your radiation resistance, your cellular density. You're already interfacing with it. Reed's voice rose with urgency. The system wants to work with you. Let it. Another blast rocked the Iron Will. Blue's ships were closing in, their weapons charging for a final strike. If we do this wrong, Parker warned, the biological interface could kill you. And if we do nothing, we all die anyway, Roberts said. He looked at Walker. What do you say, Cap? Want to become one with an ancient alien superweapon? Walker smiled behind his cracked helmet. Parker, what do we need to do? Remove your gloves, she said. Place your hands directly on the node. The energy field will do the rest. But Captain, the radiation is probably already going to kill us, Roberts finished cheerfully. Might as well make it count. They pulled off their gloves. The purple energy immediately wrapped around their exposed hands, burning and freezing at the same time. Walker felt it probe deeper, past skin and muscle, reading his very DNA. Fascinating, Reed breathed over the comms. your genetic structure. It's allowing you to channel the system's power. Through the pain, Walker sensed something vast and ancient. The weapon wasn't just a barrier. It was a bridge designed to find others like its builders. Others who evolved fighting impossible odds. Others who refused to die when their planets tried to kill them. Now, Parker shouted. Walker and Roberts pressed their hands fully against the node. The purple energy surged through them, using their bodies as conduits. Around them, the whole dimension seemed to pulse in recognition. On the council ships, alarms blared as their sensors detected the power spike. Blue's voice crackled over an open channel. What are you doing? Stop them. But it was too late. The weapon had found what it was looking for, being strong enough to survive its power. The damaged containment field repaired itself, using Walker and Roberts as templates to understand how to adapt and survive. Colony ships are reactivating, Miller reported. Their stasis fields are releasing safely. Council ships are being pushed back, Reed added. The gateway is rejecting their presence. The purple energy flowed through Walker and Roberts. Painful, but somehow right. This was what humans did. They endured. They adapted. They survived. Blue's ships fired desperately, but their weapons couldn't penetrate the restored containment field. The gateway collapsed, pushing them back into normal space. Colonies are all safe, Parker reported, joy in her voice. Everyone's alive. Walker felt the energy slowly release him and Roberts. They floated there, somehow still alive, their suits in tatters but their bodies already adapting to the radiation exposure. The Iron Will damaged but unbowed, moved to pick them up. As they waited for rescue, Walker watched the colonial ships beginning to move, millions of lives saved because humans were too stubborn to accept impossible odds. Inside the ship's medical bay later, as their radiation burns were being treated, Reed approached with news from the council. Blue and his faction have been arrested, he reported, scales shimmering with satisfaction. The council is reconsidering their view on Deathworlders. They want to offer humans a permanent position as troubleshooters for unusual phenomena. They want us to be their problem solvers, Roberts asked from his bed. More like their impossible situation specialists, Reed corrected. After all, who better to handle the impossible than people who do it every day? Walker looked at his crew, burned, irradiated, but alive and triumphant. Tell them we'll consider it. After all, someone needs to be ready when the next impossible thing shows up. And the weapon? Miller asked. Dormant now, Parker replied. But it recognized us. Next time something tries to break through from another dimension, they'll have to deal with humans, Walker finished. Reed's scales showed amusement. The universe won't know what hit it. No, Walker agreed, smiling as his crew began planning their next impossible mission. But it's going to find out. Because that's what humans did best. They faced the unknown. They survived the impossible. And they kept going. Not because they were fearless, but because someone had to do it. And sometimes, the best people for an impossible job were the ones crazy enough to try. The end.